Okay, we're going to try to clip this together and make a story out of the whole thing.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
YouTube, how you doing? Time to get you caught up on what happened all this time. And this is, if you haven't already seen, this is all has to do with our fifth wheel. So we just did a reveal of the fifth wheel, and it's basically time to let you know of the little stuff that we were doing, prepping for, and getting ready
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Now our patrons, on our Patreon page, we've been keeping them up to date the whole time. They know what's happening. A lot of times we just update it. Sorry, it's kind of early in the morning because we knew it's going to take a little bit to get this done. Hopefully it's not a very long video, but there's going to be a lot of content here. When we were in Hershey, at the Hershey RV show, we had just happened to contact Rockwood and talk to them about a new fifth wheel. And we contacted Anthony, who we had done the walkthrough with on this RV, which at this point in time, guess what? This RV's gone. When you're seeing this video, this RV's gone. It's no longer in our possession. And that's going to be part of the story too. And Anthony, he forwarded us around to another person there, Alyssa at Rockwood. And we had really good communication with her, and we were excited to meet them all out at Hershey. We went to the Hershey show. We all got along famously. It was fun, and that kind of moved us towards getting a new fifth wheel. So there was a couple of different ones that there was actually 3 fifth wheels that we were really interested in. The mid-bunk one we were very interested in, but it was discontinued. We still could have got that one. It was short. It was a couple problems with that we didn't care for. And then the other 2, they were back and forth, and we're still not 100% sold on the fifth wheel. We are, well, that you guys know we now have, but we haven't really been in and living in. But we think we chose the right one. So a lot of stuff had to happen. We had to, first of all, get the new one built. We spec'd it out the way that we have this one spec'd out. There's a lot of options that we wanted, and we got. But there's a process. And with shortages that were going on, there was some slowdowns across all the manufacturers. But again, getting back to the story for us, we had to then prepare ourselves for this one that we've been living in to be void of any of our stuff. And there was a lot of things that we were leaving behind, so we'd have to duplicate them in the new one. And what I mean is like the tank levels, the Levelmate Pro, stuff like that, the cargo, the bumper on the back. So as I'm talking to you, I'm kind of looking over clips. So when we were at Whispering Pines, it was in Port Orange, Florida, and we decided at that point that we were going to put the cap of the truck up for sale. Now, you guys remember the whole story with the cap. That's the second cap that we had. It was a bittersweet. We enjoyed having the storage that the cap offered. We didn't like the whole process of what we had to do for the cap. And if you guys haven't seen that story, if you're thinking about putting a cap on the back of your truck, because your travel trailer, or whatever, definitely go back and look at those videos. We spent a lot of money on a cap. Their value doesn't hold very well at all, which we found. There was nothing really wrong with the cap. I mean, it did the job that it was supposed to, and yet the depreciation on something that pretty much looked like brand new, I can't think of one thing on it that would make it look used.
We got a fourth.
Less than a fourth of what that cap cost, and of course we only used it for 3 years, basically 3 years. And that cap's still being sold. It's not like it went obsolete. And it's not like it's not good. The current Ford 2022 Ford trucks still use that same cap. So that cap was good from 2017 to 2022 on the Super Duties on long beds. And yet, even though it covered all those trucks, and it was a nice neutral black color, I mean, you could put that on pretty much any vehicle, and it would look okay if you didn't want to get it repainted, which it did get repainted. The new owner who watches, hey, howdy, he got that repainted. That was kind of cool. He shot us a picture of it. Anyway, so we had to get rid of the cap. I'm getting into too much of the story there about the whole cap process, but we had to get rid of the cap, so we posted on Facebook Marketplace, and it was on Facebook Marketplace for 2 months. I think it was 2 months.
Yeah.
And our option was to take it to a dealer in Orlando, drive 2.5 hours, and sell it for even less. And it just wasn't a good idea. So the cap came off.
All right, so there goes the truck cap on a completely different truck. Go figure that out. Isn't that strange? And then this is really strange. This truck's going, hey, they took my top. Oh, he's going the wrong way. He'll figure it out. This is a odd look for us, not having anything on the back of this truck. Ay, ay, ay. And it's dusty, so must not been leaking, which is good.
All right, so new owner, new cap. Now it's time for our bed that looks really strange. I mean, we have barely owned these long bed new Super Duties, our F250 and this F350, without having a cap on the back of it. So we did have a tonneau cover at one point. We knew we wanted something that would protect everything in the back and lock, and be pretty a good unit. We was also concerned with how tall it stood above the bed rails for maneuverability when we're towing a fifth wheel, and also for the rails, how close they were inside, so that they may have interacted with whatever we may put in the bed of the truck. What I'm talking about is in the future, if we ever went to like a gooseneck hitch or something like that, that it wouldn't hit the bed rail sides. But currently, we're just going with a decent, well-known brand of Roll & Lock. Now, I'm going to tell you that you're going to see some pictures here. And unfortunately, that Roll & Lock, whenever we got it, it was beat up inside the box. It was broken and dented and all kinds of stuff. Now, we didn't buy it direct from Roll & Lock. That was a process. I suggest that you do not buy it direct from the manufacturer. Even though their price is the same, it's not an easier... the process isn't as good as it would be if you would do like Real Truck. That's who we did, was Real Truck. Great to deal with. And the reason is we had a problem with it, obviously, with all those broken pieces. We called them up. They said, we're going to get hold of the manufacturer and we'll send you out an email, let you know what's going on. But usually when there's that kind of a problem, the manufacturer will send you the parts. You'll receive the parts before we'll even notify you that the parts are being mailed out. And that's exactly how it happened. And we received all kinds of replacement parts. So that's okay. The design of the cover, which I'll probably go into detail in a future video, I don't really like it. There's a couple of things that just don't work for me. But it does the job that it's supposed to. It rolls up. It keeps the water out for the most part. We haven't really got in there every time it rained and put our hands in every corner, but we took some extra steps to make sure that it was sealed off a little better. You do have to keep it lubricated with silicone, but nonetheless, we got a cover on the back of the truck. Now it's time for us to be able to hook up the fifth wheel in the truck, and that requires a fifth wheel hitch. So we did a lot of shopping, and again, because of its versatility and us potentially going through different fifth wheels in the future, we just went with a simple B&W companion hitch. And we do have a bed rug. And although this was not my idea, I seen this on another YouTube channel I'm not sure who that was. But I watched it on his, and I thought, you know what, that is really a good idea. All credit to him. This is not my idea, but it worked. And I did a little bit different than he did because it looked like the process was a little bit too drawn out. I think there's times that you can simplify it. I simplified it. So let me go ahead and show you what I did for my bed rug as far as getting it taken care of. And yeah, let's go to that clip.
All right, so first I guess I should give you some clarification of the different types of hitches that are available for your vehicles. One of them is one that has rails in it. If you guys remember, that's been watching me for a while, that 97 F250 that we had, it came with those rails already mounted in the bed. Now they've upgraded over the years and they've done different things, and this is what they call a puck system that we have from the factory on this truck. And what it is there's these things that look like a puck of some kind, and there's 4 of them. The nice thing about it is they make this hitch to where it utilizes those pucks, and those pucks are located, unfortunately for me, underneath this bed rug, which I'll address that in a second. But the way that it works is pretty simple. You just let me pull this out here. You just put your hitch down into the puck when it's like this. Then once it's in, you just turn it and lock it in, and then of course this hitch pin keeps it locked in so that it don't come loose as you're driving down the road, and let everything go disconnected and flying around. The thing that I'm going to have a problem with, well, not so much a problem, I think it's a shortcut, is I'm not going to unzip the bed rug. I think for the most part I can find where those pucks are that I need to pull the plugs out of, because they're protective plugs that cover the holes to keep dirt and stuff out of them in case you're using your truck without a bed rug and you're putting dirt in it and everything else. Well, I need to cut holes in the bed or the bed rug by heating up and allowing it to burn the hole. What do you think?
It cut all the way through.
Look at my alignment.
That's good.
Alright, so they're not perfect. I'm not perfectly on there, but I'm pretty darn close. I think I'm close enough, so we'll just keep on going. All right, so you can see here again, not perfect, but it's a lot better than me having to take the whole bottom bed rug, unzip it, whatever. And the holes are lined up enough. That should allow these to go down in there, which we'll try that now. And the nice thing is, we do have these little puck pieces if we ever have to put it back together for whatever reason. I'm just going to set this down. I pulled the plugs out. Like I said, here's the plugs that go down in there. I'm just going to rotate this over to get it close, but in the meantime, we'll pull the pin on both sides. To allow these handles to pivot out. There's going to be some adjustment here, I feel, but let's go ahead and get them in first. Ooh, good way to lose some fingers. And then this is where I don't think it should be that tight, but I might leave it that tight. Yeah. Alright, so one of the things you should do is read the instructions, because I was initially making these things nice and tight to the ground, and I am going backwards, by the way. The reason I'm not putting the top on yet is because I don't know what height it needs to be at. We don't have the RV near us, so basically what you need to do is, they say you need to try to engage the handle, and like right now it's too much. You shouldn't have to bump it or hit it to tighten it. So what they want you to do is, of course, take this cotter key out and loosen this nut to the point that when this is engaging, you can just feel it catching the edge like that. Oh, it needs to be just a little bit tighter there. Yeah, that's pretty darn close there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and loosen it slightly from what I just set it at. Put the cotter key in to hold the nut in place so don't spin, like that. And then go ahead and move it over. Then go to this one and do the same. Do it on all of them. And all I'm doing is when I turn this with the bolt pushed down all the way, because this bolt moves independently of this handle. As soon as I feel the edge of the hole that it's being connected to, I gotta back it off. It just needs to barely feel it. Like right now, I gotta hit this to get it on. We don't want that. So again, same thing as before. I'll straighten out this cotter key. A little bit better than that. That's what I was saying about bringing tools with you while you're on the road. If you want to do this yourself, unless you want to pay somebody to install it for you, which, I don't know, this is pretty simple, so. Alright, again, it's kind of snug, so I want to back this off, push the bolt down, try it. See, now that's too loose. So go a little bit tighter, too loose. A little tighter, too loose. Right there. That is just about perfect. So now this one's actually a little bit more loose. We'll address that in a second. But we want to, yeah, that's perfect. But it'll probably get a little tighter when I go to the other side. And the reason is because the other side, once it's done, will take and put tension on these on this side. So let me do all that. You see how it's supposed to be done? I suggest you do the same. Okay, so we pretty much got it done as far as we can, and the reason is because we don't have dimensions. I guess that's the best way to describe it. I don't have dimensions of a few things, to where I don't know if I need to place these forward or backwards, which most likely, before you guys all comment, most likely they're going to be mounted forward. I'll to that point there. But I don't know the height. There's 3 different heights, and I don't know what the height is because I don't know what the height is of our fifth wheel yet. So, again, by the time you're watching this, we will have already had it hooked up, I'm sure, and everything. But we also did buy a Teflon plate that goes on the fifth wheel kingpin, so we don't have to worry about grease and stuff like that, even though they gave you grease, which was kind of cool.
The reason we kept the bed rug, we were going to get rid of it, and I told Michael that if I had to get up in there, that I wasn't going to if that bed rug wasn't in there.
Yeah, those bed rugs, they have a purpose. Now, the one thing that you're probably, a lot of people don't think about, if you've ever been in an indoor-outdoor type patio, that rain may come in, or if you've been on a bass boat, or a deck of a boat, a houseboat even, that's what this is. This is a marine grade carpet. It's got a closed cell foam backing. It's not supposed to stain, although I think we stained our last one. I don't know how we did it, but it's not supposed to stain. It's resistance to stain. But you can put dirt in there and then hose it out. I mean, you can use it like a bed. Now, we have in the bed of the truck, we have a Rhino lining or something that's in there. I'm not sure what brand it is. Is it Rhino lining? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was sprayed on when we bought the truck. But the thing is to kneel in that truck and crawl through to get to stuff.
It hurts.
It hurts your knees pretty bad. So this bed rug's all padded. The other thing that the bed rug allows is I have these locking Velcro cargo keepers that if you have a carpeted bed or a carpeted trunk, and in this case, that's the whole bed's a carpeted trunk, I can put these cargo keepers in there and it will hold stuff in place. I mean, really hold stuff in place. Again, if you want to watch that video, go back a ways and you can look at, I think the thumbnail says something about leaks in the front, water in the back or something like that. And I put a water tank in the back of our old F-250, the old 97 F-250. And it held that whole water tank that was in there. Of course, we have now since got rid of the water tank. Something that you guys may want to do if you're not using something after a year's time, maybe just get rid of it. There are exceptions. We'll talk about that in a future video. So now that the fifth wheel hitch has been pretty much installed, we're not 100% sure on all the settings, the height settings and everything. We're pretty darn sure. And the way that we're pretty darn sure is we ran down to the local Rockwood dealer that's about 30 minutes away, I guess. Maybe a little.
Miles.
Yeah, it's about 15 miles through city traffic. And we looked at the fifth wheel. And then we took a bunch of measurements of the fifth wheel. So we had all these measurements. So I guess let's go ahead and show you the clip that we took right away whenever we got here, talking about our fifth wheel. That wasn't our fifth wheel, but you'll get the gist here. Hello, future YouTube. This is a video that has already been filmed covering something that we're not quite ready or allowed to talk about. So if you can see, we're at the RV dealership, and it just so happens the fifth wheel that we currently have is sitting here, but not the exact one. It's the model though, and we want to talk about it and some of the things that we like about it. So this is a 2022 Rockwood Ultralight, and of course it's a fifth wheel. You guys know we've been talking about fifth wheels for a long time, and this is a 2899 KS. The reason that we went with this one is because we think that we might have a different situation going on here as far as the way we're going to utilize it for work and for Heidi's. She does cricket, right? That's what it is, cricket. Yeah. And she just don't have any
crafting.
Right now she's crafting on trays. So it's not quite that good. But one of the reasons that we wanted to jump into this is once we get inside, you'll be able to see the windows and what it looks like. But of course, being Rockwood, as far as their quality, we've been really happy with ours, and they've upgraded and made so many things standard. Now, we'll do a complete separate video on our unit and what we think about it,
but I want to just give you an idea of what it looks like overall to us and compare it to our travel trailer that we have. So the overall length here, 36 feet 6 inches. What's that mean? Well, it's basically 6 feet longer than what we currently have. However, when I tow down the road with my truck, since this much of the unit is going to be basically over the bed, so about this point forward, you're looking at about 4 foot, a little over 4 foot, that is going to be over the bed of my truck. Well, if you guys don't realize it, I have a hitch that sticks out the back of my truck and on the front of the travel trailer that's 3 foot right there. The other thing is this pass-through. Now, we have a huge pass-through on our travel trailer now that we love.
But not this big.
It's not this big. And it's not a drop frame, which a lot of people talk about the drop frames, but you know, this is definitely bigger than what we currently have. Even though it's taken up with a little bit of space here, and that's because of the wet bay over there, we have, I believe, enough room to put everything in the bed of our truck in here, with some exceptions, and everything that's in the pass-through of our truck, travel trailer, I'm sorry, in here also. So with those exceptions, one of them might be like the Blue Boy tank that'll go in the bed of the truck, and there might be one other tote that'll stay in the bed of the truck. But I believe our electric bikes can lay on their sides in here with all the other totes. That's yet to be seen. We'll be looking forward to showing you that. The steps that we have on our travel trailer now are the same type of steps. These are step above, and what they've got is a spring assist. Now here's the best part. These things now have these quick release. There are no more pins that you put in the side to move them up and down. You just push these releases to drop the legs and push them in and out as needed. And they put a handle on the backside here, you can see, to help pull them down. Also, look at the step. They made it a big landing step on top. That's something that's definitely needed, or something that we definitely like with what we currently don't have. We wanted a better step. By the way, we're at Tropical RV Sales, also known as Rockwood RV Wholesalers. If you haven't had a chance, come down and take a look. I'm not going to go over all the features again, but I wanted to point out some things. The bumper on the back, we're looking at this, and it does have a hitch, and the hitch is welded up to the frame pretty good, and the bumper kind of sits real close to the hitch. So I think we're going to be able to put a rack, although you can order an optional rack that folds down on this right from Rockwood, but we could also put our generator rack we currently have. We'll talk about that if we do that. I'm not sure if we will or not. The one thing that nobody talks about, there are 2 gray tanks. This is the gray tank for the kitchen, so you have a separate valve for that. That doesn't mean you need to run one of those big stinky slinkies and a Y fitting. You can just run a cap with a garden hose off of that and tie it in that way if you want. The slide on this is one thing. How you see Heidi taking a measurement there. One of the things we were concerned about is the slide and how big it is. This isn't a super slide as far as this is concerned. What's the length on that?
2 foot.
2 foot. So that is much shorter than the 34 inches or 39 inches
right,
that the super slide is, like what's on the front of the RV, or I should say on the other side of the RV. This here is a big storage area. We haven't really figured out exactly how we would utilize this, I'll be honest with you. And we know that whenever we're up against some of these parks, you know, we're up close to maybe a power pole or something. We've pulled into places where the power pole, you know, is sitting right here. I don't know how that will work with this yet. Again, I'm looking forward to that. If you've seen just a door or an access door on the bottom here and not 2 vents like you see here, then you have a residential refrigerator. This one's got a double gas electric. That's what we would probably option in, I'm sure. Of course, we always talk about the Goodyear Endurance tires. These have tire pressure monitor sensors that come standard in here, which is really nice. And then this is your other drain, of course. These are heated tanks, and the underbelly is also heated, so you have double heating that's available, or that is standard, to keep that stuff from freezing up, because we do get every once in a while getting a temperature that might be just a little bit cold. Of course, frameless windows. We talked about that in the past. And then you have this nice convenience center. You know, you just have this one port that you run your hose out, and that's it. You know, you're connecting to the city water through there, and it looks much neater than it, you know, being a fitting on the side. Of course, you still have your gravity fill here, but all these knobs, all that means is which way you want the water to flow once it's hooked up. You know, here's your city water hookup. Instead of it being on the outside, you know, out here, it's now in here. And then again on this side, you can see the pass through, and then the big inverter, because we will option in solar panels on ours. Again, this is our past selves talking about this. And then the one thing I'm not real sure about, Heidi and I discussed it a little bit, is the drinking water filter that's here. And the hoses, you know, that run all this way. I don't know if we necessarily need a drinking water filter. I haven't quite figured that out, because we do have so many other filters. You've guys seen our videos. We have that triple filter system, and we also have a water softener. And then we have some filters that go out on the supply at the park. I don't know if we would need all that, so I might change that around. I might change that filter around. That's something maybe. You guys probably don't know this. Yeah, you can walk underneath these. I'm 6 foot. You can see I'm right at it, and a lot of people don't know that. You know, don't pay attention to how high this is. You think you're ducking underneath of it. Now, you will have to protect your head from something like this, though, because this is not 6 foot. I mean, I could run into this. Now, as far as this slide, this is the bed slide. This is part of your bed. This is not a Schwintex slide. This is a roller slide, and it's because the Schwintex, you know, that's for a lightweight slide that maybe not come out very far. The bed, of course, is kind of heavy, so that slide is 30 inches. So Heidi just measured it. She said it's a 30-inch slide. And of course, the width-wise, we're not too concerned about that. I'm just trying to give you what the depths are, because we were kind of curious about that ourselves when we were at a park, how far they would come out. So this one being so high shouldn't be an issue with any obstructions, unless it's a tree or a pole, a tall pole. That one there, you don't necessarily have to worry about it as much as you would a super slide that comes out 40 inches like what we have on our travel trailer, but nonetheless, it's still something to consider. The good news is you can put that power pole or that anywhere, you know, along here, and you'll be safe. You just got to kind of stay away from that, and that'll allow you to position your RV closer to a lot of things, which we do. Trust me, we try to give us all the campsite that we have available to us. Propane tanks, you know, this is standard. They're on both sides. Heidi didn't know this, or she, you know, you know, a lot of people don't know this. She was concerned about the propane tanks in our bedroom being up above and that. Listen, they seal this off. Look at all this in here. I don't know how well this is coming on camera, but this stuff is sealed off. They're required for safety reasons to have this all sealed off, and, you know, for any kind of ventilation from the tank that may escape, it does not kill the occupants of the travel trailer. So it's vented here, and it is sealed off very well inside there, so no worries there. The turning point hitch, a lot of people talk about this. Basically, you can turn traditional right here. You know, you hook it up to your shoe or your fifth wheel hitch in the bed of your truck, and as you drive down the road, the trailer turns right here. You know, you turn your truck, everything turns here. You don't have to do that if you don't want. If you got a short bed or you're trying to get a little bit tighter situation, there's a part here that locks in up against this to keep this from turning, and you would unbolt this part to allow it to turn, and that'd be these bolts here. And then at that point, you have a turning point hitch to where the hitch will turn or pivot right here. So this whole piece, if it was loose, I could pull it and it would turn. So it turns here instead of here. This part stays locked into your fifth wheel. Again, didn't want to go over that too much. Just wanted to talk about the unit overall and why we chose it. So now this area here, I can definitely fit my generator in here. I cannot fit, I don't believe, Heidi will get the tape measure out and measure the floor. Yeah, it's kind of dark in here, sorry guys.
Sorry, my light's not working either.
What's the floor footprint measure width-wise? So, because it is sloped a little bit here, we're going to see what it measures out. think that's 17.
Yeah, just under 17.
Okay, so a Champion 3000, I believe, is 19 inches wide. That's the smallest footprint measurement, so it won't fit in here unless you elevate it. Now, if you elevate it up, if you build it up and put a platform here for it to sit on, measure across this way. Let's see how much there is. Is it 19? Did we get up to 19 there?
Yep.
Still, I don't think so. I mean, we could, but it would be up high. It'd be up really high. It would have storage underneath. I guess you could do it. Don't be concerned about all the wires and that. I mean, they're safely secured, and it does look a little bit like spaghetti, but you could clean all that up if you wanted to make it look your own way. I think it's okay, though, the way it is. But we could fit our Honda generator in there. I'm sure of that. We could put 2 Hondas in there. But as far as ventilation, that's another concern. Your awning, you have 2 of them. You have your awning here with LED lights, then you have this awning out here, also with LED lights. Sometimes you won't be able to put this awning out because of obstructions, because this is a super slide. This is 40 inches, so you got to be concerned there. Okay, we have no lights in here. We just want to show you the overall floor plan. We chose this one because Heidi wants to utilize this again. Maybe even I might want to utilize this for work, but Heidi wants to utilize this. We have a lot of things that we don't have counter space for now. This would allow us to put her Cricut. We could put a printer. We do have other things that we could put on that ledge if needed to be. Of course, you've got all the storage behind the TV, which is awesome. I can put all my camera gear back there. That'd keep it pretty secure. You can see your counter space here. Look at this back here. Our ice maker, the toaster, the coffee maker, all can stay out. This is the best part. You know, we got some ants being in Florida. We had some ants coming in. Guess what? We could keep all of our food items in here and know this is the area we need to protect from the ants, and not worry about them as much. Because right now, even though you have storage in our travel trailer all above the windows and everything, and underneath the dinette, and in the drawers underneath the sink or by the sink, you know, drawers like that, the problem is we have food in all those locations. So when we get ants, we have to make sure that all those locations are clean. This pantry is awesome. We're going to definitely be excited to use that. Heidi, her mouth is watering on that. I already know that.
I'm super excited.
The trash can option, Heidi's not a big fan of. I think I would like it. Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of its location.
Right.
I think that it should be right here.
Right. I kind of agree, but again, it's where it is, and I would be more than happy to try it out and be wrong. Maybe it does need to be there. Storage. I'm not going to go through all this. Look at all this up here, though.
We got lots of storage.
Now, the microwave's still an issue for Heidi. We'll go ahead and show that to you. She's just a little too short to see what's going on there. I mean, it's just a little too high.
This is a plus. Pots and pan drawer.
Yeah, big pots and pans drawer. Again, you got TPMS monitors. That's factory on here now. And this is the refrigerator we'll be getting in our unit. So, not as deep as a 12-volt compressor. Not as deep as a residential, but it is as wide as a residential. And it's definitely more than what we currently have. And being full-time on the road, I mean, that's an issue. This is a common area, by the way, guys, if you don't know. It's just double doors. So, as far as travel accessibility, we know that with these slides in, that refrigerator is blocked, except for this upper part. But I don't think we really need to get in there. And the fireplace, we think we'd like to try that out for keeping ourselves, you know, the chill off in the morning. And then this area here, this bar unit, again, we already talked about it, and the storage that goes along with that. One of the things that we really like. Okay.
I've shut all the other doors for you.
Same here, Bob. So the bathroom. This is something that everybody talks about, including us. And it is a little bit of disadvantages. You see, I'm standing on the step to open the bathroom door. So if I'm coming out of the bedroom, I have to get to this step to go into the bathroom door. Okay, I'm sure that's something that they can work on. and it's not a crazy problem. I'll tell you one thing they did do in just a short amount of time: turn these commodes sideways instead of having them more straight up. Big difference as far as sitting. Huge difference as far as sitting. I'm not small, guys. I'm 270 pounds, and I'm going to tell you that when I'm sitting on it, and if it's straight like it was at the one in Hershey, yeah, I'm up against this wall pretty tight. This makes it much nicer. It's a whole different experience. I spend time in the bathroom, okay? This is much deeper than it appears. Heidi will throw a tape measure in there while I show you this. And Heidi and I both got in the shower, see what it's like. We both sat down, and it's very pleasant. It's very, very nice to sit in here. And I think that the overall feel of the shower is much roomier than what we have. I feel very, very free to move around. As Heidi shakes her head, she's been in here. It is definitely a big difference. Of course, the skylight up above, this is about the same height as ours, I think.
So.
Maybe. But let's go back. Heidi's going to give us a measurement.
Sure. I believe I
want to talk about
32.
Wow, 32 inches deep. Now, as far as width-wise, you're only talking about maybe 10 inches, I guess. 11 inches, okay. Yeah. But 32, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times. All our linens are going to fit in there and then some. And then, of course, you have this little medicine cabinet for whatever little stuff you may want to throw in there. You have this medicine cabinet for the stuff you normally use directly over the sink. And then you do have some storage underneath here. Now, if you want, you can get rid of these P-traps. You can put in one of those other things that'll make this a little bit more accessible. I say don't bother with it. There's so much storage at this point. You don't need to do that. And, of course, up here, I always put Heidi's hairbrushes. She's always looking for them. This one has the ability to put in 3 max air vents. You have one in the bathroom, you have one right here in the ceiling, and you have one all the way in the back. I suggest you do that because you're going to find different reasons to turn on each one of those. And they do have remote controls, so you don't have to be 10 foot tall to get to them. And then, of course, the ceiling fan. We didn't talk much about the kitchen island and the storage there, but you get the idea. The other thing is, you're going to see this area, and we may or may not have made a good decision. We're going to find out ourselves, and that is, you have all this area here. And again, I'm sorry about the light. There's no power out here. We optioned in a washer and dryer, so you're looking at it without the washer and dryer, and you can see all this room here and these 2 shelves. All that's going to be taken up by the washer dryer. You still have this shelf here, and you still have this shelf up here, which is bigger than you think. The opening's kind of small, but you have the storage up here. Not only that, you can still get to this here. They changed the doors on this. Heidi pointed out they changed the doors. They both open from this side now. Now I'm leaning in, and the reason I'm leaning in is because they optioned in something we won't option in. We don't need a king bed. If you get a king bed, you don't lose the power ports. You still get power ports. They're in the corner. And you do get little shelves. But you have a mattress that goes all the way to the wall. I don't like that because I can't really access these drawers fully. Even though they have these full opening drawers, I can't really access them the way that I may want to. The bed's in the way. I also can't necessarily walk around to bed. I am climbing into bed from the bottom. That might not be what I want to do every night, night after night. This person over here, same thing. You can kind of see it's tight. I mean, I'm up against it. I could do it, but I just don't like that. Heidi and I have had a queen size bed for many, 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 many years. We don't need a king. If you have a king, you want a king, here's what it looks like with the king option. As far as the length, still fine there. It's a king length. You do have all these drawers here. They're deep. There's 4 of them. Utilize them how you think you might. Of course, the TV will be here. I think overall it's a nice bedroom. And of course, we optioned in the second air conditioner. I say you do the same. Overall, we like the unit, and we're happy to be trying it out. We want to see what it looked like before we actually got into it. So that's why we're here today. What's your thoughts on it?
I'm super excited.
Super excited. Can't wait.
I know.
By the time you're seeing this, we've already announced it. You know, we're already getting the unit, or we've already actually got the unit, but probably we're getting the unit at this point. And we haven't actually put our feet in it. Not ours. But this is the second one we've been in. We were at the one at the Hershey show, and this one here. There's a lot of reasons to go with Rockwood. We talked about it in the past. We're going to go over it in great depth when we have ours, and cover it just as much as we have ours. And we'll tell you what shortcomings we come up with too.
All right, so after we had gone through the fifth wheel and showed you everything that we did, we got back to the campground here, and we decided that we needed to get measurements of that fifth wheel. So we went back and got a bunch of measurements. I'm not going to make you watch, that one necessarily, but it gave us a good idea of what we needed to do, and yet we still had to go back again for this fifth wheel hitch to get even more measurements. But it worked. Now, all along, in between all this stuff going on, we were having stuff going on at home in Ohio, or I call it home, but I mean where we used to live. And we had to fly back to Ohio. There was some family business needed taken care of there. Then, once we were finished there, we flew back here. Once we were here for a relatively short period of time, a decision we had made in Ohio was not making sense to us. And you'll see a lot of, this is the stuff you guys need to watch. Stuff don't go as planned. You may think, oh, this is brilliant, this is a good idea, and then afterwards it's like, wait a minute, what was I thinking? And that was the case here. When we were back in Ohio, we had purchased a new car. We knew that we were going to be here in Florida and at this one location until May. We didn't want to rent a car. We didn't want to drive the truck everywhere that it needed to be driven, but we knew there's things that we had to do, such as the Tampa RV show, such as now we know Heidi having surgery. I don't know where we're at this point when you're watching this video, but Heidi has to go through surgery. The other thing is just the entertainment value of going to different places in this area. And you'll see that on some of the earlier videos. We were in cars that we were traveling. We weren't in the truck. We didn't really explain necessarily 100% what was going on there. So what happened was it was getting close to Christmas time, and we decided that as far as an early Christmas, we would head back to Ohio. Now, in the meantime, prior to us doing that, we knew that we had to clear out everything from our travel trailer and truck bed and put it in the new fifth wheel. Problem with that is the new fifth wheel wasn't here. So we didn't want to be in a dealer's parking lot picking up our new trailer and spending an hour transferring everything that was in our truck and the trailer into the new fifth wheel. So what we decided to do is go get some storage. And man, I cannot believe how much stuff this travel trailer hauls or carries. So let me tell you about that. Let me show you it.
So part of the process of us getting this new fifth wheel is we don't want, of course, to have all our stuff at the dealer, in the truck, in the RV, and be in a parking lot, maybe when it's raining, trying to transfer all the stuff from our RV, our travel trailer, to the fifth wheel. So this is what it looks like when it's all crammed in here, and I cannot believe.
This looks like the back of our truck when we left in October 2020.
Now, I want you guys to wrap your head around this. Other than that small tote that's there, we have two full-size totes that are just like that. Other than those two full-size totes and that one tote there and the bicycles, everything else came out of the RV. Everything. The ottomans from inside, that ottomans from inside, which we don't need both of those now. But the blue tote was in our pass-through. There's other totes that are underneath there we still have 2 totes that are still in the pass-through. That pass-through storage was huge in that travel trailer. So if you guys are looking for a big pass-through travel trailer, that 2604, even though they don't make it anymore, that was something, I'll have to say. But yeah, all this stuff, except for 2 full-size totes and that small brute tote, and these 2 bicycles, all of that was in the RV. Wow. But
It makes you feel a little ill that we still have this much stuff.
I want to have to do something about that.
If we have room in the new fifth wheel, that's all fine and dandy. A lot of stuff that's in boxes, which you can't really see in there much, we're in like shelves and drawers.
Right.
But this makes me feel not really good.
Yeah, no, I think we need to maybe think about it.
We'll figure it out. We'll definitely downsize again. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, we can't picture just yet
What it's going to look like.
What it's going to look like in the new fifth wheel.
Yeah.
Or in the fifth wheel.
Yeah, we still got a lot of stuff in the travel trailer too. All my computer stuff,
And
minus some things.
We're living in it.
Yeah, so all the food, all of
Stuff's
our
out
clothes.
and not put away because I don't have room in the, because I have a very small kitchen now.
Yeah,
So it's really going to be
different. Yeah, really different.
That was a ton of stuff. And again, I know you just watched the clip, but I want to reiterate that other than 2 totes that are normal size totes, and then 1 smaller tote that is the smaller tote that I showed in the video, and the bikes, the 2 bicycles, other than just those things that's in that storage, that whole storage area, all that stuff was either in the pass-through or inside the RV. All of that. So whenever we had a couple of people said, man, I can't wait till you see you clear out the back of your truck. Really, there wasn't a lot in the back of the truck. There was just the blue, I'm sorry, not the blue tank, but the couple totes that I talked about, the 3 totes that I talked about. I think there was a gas can that was in the back of the RV, just an empty gas can.
That was the least amount of stuff we
Yeah.
had in there.
And then the 2 bicycles.
Yeah.
Oh, and the scooter. There's a scooter that we used to throw there. So the scooter, it could go in the RV. I guess we'll just say that was in the truck also. So other than those things, everything that you see in that storage, again, it's a lot of stuff. So we're going to have to, like Heidi had mentioned in the clip there, we're going to have to revisit that maybe. So we have the storage unit. We didn't really want to pay for that. It was kind of expensive for what it was, but
Well, storage is expensive in Florida.
yes,
for
it is.
sure.
It is. You can find cheaper things, but I'm glad that we got what we did. So we, at that point, everything was in storage, and we decided that we were going to go on the casino cruise, which we shot the video of that. You saw that. We had a great time. And again, we plan on going back. Again, at what time you're watching this video, I'm sure that's already over with. But nonetheless, we wanted to talk about what the process was. Then, after that, we did drive back to Ohio in a car that we purchased down here. And we used the car down here. And we had to make some repairs on it just to make it really reliable. And basically, we're kind of making a trade with our son and the fact that he's going to be selling his van. So his van, I did the video on that, which I posted and you guys saw. He is he backing away from the whole van life. It may be sold by the time you're watching this. If not, if you guys are still interested, regardless, if you want to go see that van, go back and check it out. Just a couple videos back. Deal was he had our brand new car that we had bought when we were in Ohio, and he was utilizing that, and then that's whenever we decided, let's go get that new car, and we're going to go ahead and bring up another car for trade. Basically, when he sells the van, his new, I guess you could say new to him car, the white car, that'll be taken care of. But nonetheless, we drove to Ohio, and on the way I was shooting some video for my other channel on that little car. So if you guys want to check that out, it turned out to be a very good little car. I was very impressed with it. But yeah, so driving to Ohio, let's talk about that a little bit here on this clip. Good morning, YouTube. What are we doing? Well, we've been driving for the last, 3 hours? No.
It's almost 3.5 hours.
Yeah, 3.5 hours. And you can see it just said, welcome to Georgia. And we're heading north. Why are we heading north? We have to pick up our car and drop this car off. We talked about that in the past. Going to go home, I think do an early Christmas thing also, because we aren't real sure of our plans. You know, we have stuff going on. We're going to attempt, and it's been a long time since I did anything like that. We're going to attempt to maybe drive straight through to Ohio. Now, like you said, like we just mentioned, it was 3.5 hours just for us to get into Georgia. So we still have 831 miles to go. That's a long ways to be driving.
Plus, this car needs a brake.
Yeah, maybe, because I'm running 80. You guys thought I drove fast in a truck pulling a trailer.
You don't drive any different.
If this car, it has a slightest little wobble, probably I don't know, could be anything. I don't know. We got new tires and everything all the way around, so it's not that, but it could be a CV joint or something weird. And about 81 or 82. It's actually a pretty good speed for it.
He's not actually running that continuously, but he is doing this right now.
Yeah, I'm taking it easy. Slowing it down. So we're getting back up north. We're going to freeze our butts off for a few days and then head back down south, back to Florida. We need to get back to Florida. You know, we have stuff that, you know, plans and that. We were waiting on titles to vehicles. That took quite a long time because our title was sent to the wrong place and it went to our mail forwarder, so then it took an extra day, and it took quite a long time for it to come in the first place. Anyways, we thought we'd check in with you and let you guys know what we're doing. You can tell that we have been driving in an RV in the right lane mainly for a long time now. Matter of fact, I was telling Heidi, I can't remember the last time I drove a car, and I think it was 2014. It was the last time, and I mean on a long trip. So, anyways, I didn't realize how bad of an epidemic it is of people getting in the fast lane and just not getting over. I mean, we are doing 80 to 90 miles an hour, and by far, we're doing, you know, more speed than almost everybody that we come up to in the fast lane. Yet, they just don't get over. They just totally 100% don't care, no matter how close you get to them, how many times you flash your lights, how many times you blow your horn, you nod your head, you give them...
He doesn't do any of that, he's lying.
Give them a hand signal. No, I've watched everybody else. They won't get over. They don't care. They just don't care. And it's incredible, because now I'm relegated to doing something that I don't believe in at all, and that's passing on the right. So...
But that's what everybody else does.
That's what everybody else does to get around.
Except Ohio.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people
Whenever
in Ohio
you get in the left lane in Ohio, if somebody's behind you, you get over and then you can get back out.
Yeah. I mean,
get out of people's way.
Don't get me wrong, that we got that in Ohio too, but not as bad as what I've seen.
Not for miles
on 95 from Vero Beach all the way to Low Country and South Carolina. I mean, it's just been like this the whole way, so I thought I'd point it out. Well, we decided to stop last night on our way back to the home and got a hotel. We thought we were going to drive all the way through. We was about 4.5 hours away, and the rain it was just incredible. I mean, just really just torrential. So instead of risking driving 70 plus miles an hour where the roads were flooded over in a couple spots, I guess you could say, we decided to stop. This place was okay, except Heidi's having a hard time checking out. Yeah, this is Microtel by Wyndham. Anyways, it's a nice place. It's not bad. It was some kind of a deal that we had because we had booked that flight through Priceline that we, I don't know, it's only like 60 bucks, I think, after taxes and everything. It was $60, so yeah, pretty inexpensive. Like I said, Heidi's trying to check out and turn in our keys. It's 4 in the morning, 4:59, it's getting ready to be 5 in the morning, and nobody's around. She can't find anybody, so anyways, we'll get going here. I think we may want to stop and get some gas while we're stopped already and head on out. So once we were in Ohio, again, Christmas was right, not that far away. So we decided to go ahead and we watched our grandson for a few days. We stayed at our daughter's and our son-in-law's place. We kind of were the babysitter for a few days.
It was fun.
It was fun. We did some Christmas decorations. Of course, our grandson, he opened some gifts. We got a few clips of him, going through that. We'll just, show you that. We won't necessarily, play audio and everything. But it was, he had a good time. We had a great time. And it was a nice bonding moment, for him to be around his grandparents that he don't necessarily see all the time. So after that, it was time for us to head back to Florida. So let's go to that clip. Hello, YouTube from a foreign land. We don't know at what point this is making the video that you're watching, but we wanted to talk about where we're at and what we're doing. Well, we came to Ohio to pick up our car. We're unfortunately cold. It's cloudy. It's gray.
It is 58 out, though.
I can't believe it's 58
I
degrees. But there's wind coming in. The lows are in the 30s.
4.1 miles.
So we're headed back to where we need to be, and that's in the great state of Florida and the warmth that it provides. It's funny. We have cameras that are set up back at the RV, and it's funny to be at dark in Ohio, even though we're in the same time zone. And when you look at the cameras in Florida, they're live shots, and it's daylight. It's still sunny out. It just shows you how much of a tilt to the earth that Ohio experiences for winter, and how they are getting shorted daylight on a regular basis. So Heidi's going to do the first leg of the driving today. I don't know we don't know where we're going. We know we're most likely not going to drive straight through. The problem is if we happen to get tired, then that means we have to pull over. It's a real disadvantage of not having an RV and traveling. We're so used to it. But we'll pull over and get a hotel most likely. Now the thing with that is, obviously you want to travel as much distance as you can before you get so tired you can't really drive anymore. That's what we normally do. And then we just pull over in the RV and we fall asleep wherever that may be. The disadvantage to doing it in a car is the hotel situation. It's not like the hotel's going to give us a discount because we're checking in at 1 in the morning. They're still going to charge us the full rate for the full day if we have checked in at 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. And we're leaving at 11 the next day. Or if we do like we are whenever we're power driving, and that is driving until maybe midnight, 1, then we check in the hotel, and then we get up the next morning at 8 or 9 and we leave.
So right now it says that we'll arrive at 12:30 a.m. and that seems achievable right now, but
it could be. If I get a nap, we could do it. As long as the weather stays dry, I could do that. It's not a big deal, but we'll see. Same thing as always. We'll see. So, again, a different car on the way back, and we didn't really close that out. We ended up staying at the hotel for the night, just like we kind of planned. Again, there was thought of us driving straight through, and we're just like, why? We're not sure why. But the car, to follow through with all that, once we got down here, the car was just sitting. And at some point, I realized that I got caught up in the chase more than anything else. So let me give you some thought process behind that. We knew that once we started traveling again, we would have to find a place to park the car. I'm sure we could have made arrangements with the park owner here to say, listen, is there any way that we could store the car here, cover it up, give you so much a month? He has a lot of places that it could be stored. And then we started thinking about how that's probably not the best thing to do, especially with a new car, number one. Number two, the car is paid for. It's not like we're making car payments on it or anything like that. But number two, the whole idea was, how long will we be traveling until we come back and get this new car? And again, it started weighing on us. Wait a minute, maybe we didn't need that new car as much as we thought, because we just weren't using it. So by the time you watch this video, again, that car is now gone. We went to the local Ford dealer and gave him a call, and because of the shortages of inventory, they're falling all over themselves to buy back that car, because it has less than 2,500 miles on it. Buy back that car, and we're really not losing but like $500 on the whole process. And you got to remember that our son used it, and we used it. As far as like a rental car would be concerned, rental cars are pretty expensive. I mean, it was like $180 for 2 days for us to rent a car in this area. You can get it cheaper, but I think the cheapest we've ever gotten a rental car was $200 for a week, and that was in Ohio.
And it was a mistake.
And that was definitely a mistake. And this one we had for well over a month. I think it was like a month and a half. So basically, it all washes out to where we purely lose $500 on selling the car back, to a dealer. So that catches us up to this point. So basically, all of that was going on while we were also doing stuff like us showing you at the beach. When we were taking bike rides on the beach, we were doing scooter rides at the beach. We went to the local Round Park campground here, or I should say county park. And then when we went to Fort Pierce, all of our traveling back and forth, I mean, all of that is kind of what we wanted to consolidate on this video. So we have to reiterate how grateful we are you guys have been hanging on. We got a lot of people saying we miss you. You guys, are you not even on YouTube anymore? Our Patreon page, we've always updated. We've always kept that up to date. And it lets you know every step of the way exactly what's going on. It's a very limited audience, so a lot of information can be released a lot earlier and talked about. It's a lot easier to be done on that channel. And of course, it supports us. Our views and all that stuff, of course, is on YouTube. Forget it. I mean, everything's gone downhill. It's not really, that wasn't our focus whenever we started the channel in the first place. It was just a nice thing to have. So we're still wanting to get back up to where we're posting daily stuff, everything that we're doing daily and prepping and stuff. It's just, we have certain stipulations as far as what we can talk about, and we wanted to make sure that we were telling the story, or at least giving you some semblance of what we were doing, but not really letting you know what we were doing, because we really couldn't. So again, we appreciate you hanging on, but from now on, I think we should be pretty darn good until something else secret starts to happen, which you never know what that might be. But yeah, we're happy that we're now at this point, like I said, as time you're watching this video, we're in this new fifth wheel, and we can't wait to start traveling. You know, we've got until May. We might sneak out before then. We'll have to see. Definitely, though, the Tampa show. That's what we're looking for, and I think that may even have passed by the time you're watching this. I'm not sure. If not, we'll be at the Tampa show, and look for Heidi in some different glasses,
or none.
Or none. She's we're gonna run her through. She's got to get cataract surgery, so. Maybe by the time you're, our next video, or by the time you're watching this, if you run into her at the show, she may not have any glasses. Maybe she'll have a pirate eye patch. Might have one eye going on there.
That might be possible.
Yeah, that's possible.
So let me tell you a story about insects. So we have these things. I don't even know where the other one is. Where's the other tube at?
Oh, it's over here. I'll get it.
Well, we have these chamois, I guess you can call them. They're absorb towels. I highly recommend you pick them up. These things are incredible. They take all the stuff off of your vehicle as far as water goes after you've washed it, so you don't get water spots, and they work very well. I was skeptical when Heidi bought one, but we used it, and after I used it, I told her, I said, yep, this is nice, and she bought another one. So the absorber. So here's the deal with those. What you do is you leave them slightly wet when you put them away, and they go into a tube, and that tube, it just maintains the moisture, and it doesn't hurt the absorber at all to be a little bit wet. It doesn't. There's no mildew. It will not, because of its build, the way the fibers are set up, it will not mildew. And you just rinse it out a little bit and wring it out, and then start drying off your vehicle the next time that it's time to use it. So we always put them away in the tubes, just like they say. And I came into the back of the RV, how many days ago was that, Hyde?
About 5 or 6 days
Yeah,
ago.
about 5 or 6 days. And I was getting something out of the back of the truck. I shouldn't say the RV, the truck, sorry. In the back of the truck here. And those tubes, we just throw them in this spot here, underneath the seats. And that one tube, when I picked up a blanket that was kind of laying in here, a packing blanket, the tube has a small hole in the end, and that tube with the absorbs was apparently also a perfect little campsite or home for ants, little ants. Now, let me show you over here. What I would normally do whenever I pulled in this parking spot, so I got off of the road, was I would pull up until, unfortunately, the branches of this thing here would be sitting on the hood. I mean, you can see just a little bit further up, they would be resting on the hood. And of course, these would definitely be on the hood. So what I gather is those ants made it in that way, and they made themselves a full-blown home. So we took out the tube, we cleaned it, we traced down most of the ants, yeah, and we killed, all the little ants. We sprayed back here with some ant killer, and that was pretty much it. Now, we found a couple yesterday when we hopped in the truck, and they were, I don't know, probably about 6 or 7, and they were running around here on the seats. And I thought, well, it's probably a few that didn't make it back into the tube, and we killed them. And I figured, well, it's probably crumbs. I mean, we eat while we're driving, and crumbs always get down in the seats and stuff. That's why we have those Carhartt seat covers. If you didn't watch that part of our video, these Carhartts are awesome. We pulled them off. You can see we're getting ready to go throw them in the washer and wash them up. The back ones, of course, are clean. Nobody sits back here. But anyways, we figured then, driving this yesterday, well, there's just a couple random ones here. Well, Heidi wasn't so convinced of that, and while I was in editing video, she came back in, or she had told me, she goes, while you're sitting here editing, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to get some sunshine, and I'm going to clean out the truck, make sure that there's no more ants in here. Well, then she came running back inside, and the reason is because the other tube of the other absorbs, it didn't have any ants in it whatsoever the first time around, but the second time around, it was way full way, way, way full. And you can see here, there's the absorber. And look at all these ants that were inside that tube. Here's the tube that I'm talking about, that you keep it in. And all of these ants were in there. Now, ooh, there's a spider. Now, here's the deal. We killed most of them, but there's still a few floating around inside here. So the deal is with vehicles and basically insects in Florida, they're no joke. They find their way in. What I'm assuming is they came through the vent somehow. We have cleaned out everything. I expect to find maybe 3 random little ants over the next week or so. But yeah, we've got to wash our seat covers and put them back on. And putting the seat covers on, I remember those not being too much fun. But we'll also clean our mats. And when I say we, it means Heidi will be doing all this. Because I'm in editing videos.
I had to interrupt him so he could get the rest of the stuff out, because after I found all those ants on that absorber,
yeah.
you know they're...
Yeah, they just
run
everywhere.
As soon as I saw them, I literally grabbed it, pulled it out away from the truck, and I'm like, oh my God, this is worse than the last one.
Yeah, it was. I can tell by how many there are.
We couldn't locate the other absorber. The thing is we must move a bunch of stuff around. It was right on top.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll get this all cleaned up, and then I'll go over to the
Yeah, these floor mats are awesome. The floor mats and the seat covers. Again, we did videos on that prior. We did videos covering that stuff before. And go figure this out. For the first time in, well, since we hit the road.
Yeah.
The first time since we hit the road, my toolbox came out. This, I mean, this is a true 100-pound toolbox. This thing is very heavy. It's filled. It's just filled with tools.
So that's it. And I hope this has straightened it all out, but we know how to close it out.
As always, we hope to see you out here. Bye.
Bye.